Inside the Magic Show number 374 for June 3rd, 2012. It is Sunday, June 3rd, 2012. This is show 374 of Inside the Magic. I'm your host, Ricky Briganti, and we do have another great show packed with Disney and theme park news and a whole lot more fun. Before we get to all of that, I do invite you to visit our website over at InsideTheMagic.net. There you will find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and so much more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, anything you want to write in with, you can write to me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a voice message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel, Walt Disney World in Florida. Summer room discounts are available. Plus, when you book your Walt Disney World summer vacation with Magical Travel, you can receive a free one-day water park ticket for everyone in your traveling party. Certain restrictions apply, so you're going to want to call Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. Their agents are experts on all Disney destinations, and when you call them, be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive your free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And, of course, thanks very much to listeners and viewers like you, and specifically this week to Robert Dunnenberg and Carolyn Adams, or Dannenberg, I think is what that is. Yep, that's an A. Robert Dannenberg and Carolyn Adams for your donations this week, and, of course, to all of our monthly recurring donation subscribers, and anybody who clicks through our affiliate links over on the website as well, at Amazon.com, etc., and when you click through those and make a purchase, it supports the show, and of course the donations do as well, and I thank you all very, very much for all of that. And now, let's get started with our trip around the world. So it's been an interesting week out here in Florida. Lots happening. We had a big opening and a big closing event. I'll be talking about both of those in depth a little bit later in the show. Of course, I am talking about Disney's Art of Animation Resort, which had its grand opening this week. And meanwhile, on the exact same day over at the Magic Kingdom, Snow White's Scary Adventures closed permanently. So, again, we'll be talking about both of those more extensively later in this week's show. Before all of that, though, we'll jump into some other news, continuing out here at Walt Disney World with news that I don't cover a lot of this here on the show. It is ticket price increases, and I don't talk a lot about ticket prices because they change often. They change every year, in fact, and so it's not really worth diving into too deeply, but it's worth noting some interesting points surrounding this year's Walt Disney World ticket price increases, which go into effect today. Most of the tickets have risen. What's interesting this time around is just a few days ago, Universal Orlando increased their ticket prices. Normally, it's Walt Disney World that increases their prices first each year, and then Universal, and then SeaWorld will follow. This time, Universal jumped the gun and decided to do it first. However, a few weeks ago, before even Universal, Disneyland Resort in California had increased their tickets, so that was kind of interesting that it was in a sort of a different order than usual. Also, of course, I mentioned the Disneyland ticket prices recently. I can't remember if it was last week, the week before, etc. But their price increases were abnormally large, very, very high price increases, especially on annual passes out in California. The increases out here at Walt Disney World, not quite as bad. They were fairly normal, amounts of increasing. But there is one sticking point worth mentioning here. Apparently, as of today, now there's no more child price for the annual passes out here in Florida. Everybody 3 and up is going to pay the same, child or adult. So that's certainly worth noting for you families out there. So now let's hop over to Epcot for some details on the 17th annual Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, which this year is going to be starting on September 28th and running for a record 46 days, all the way through November 12th. Of course, it will include plenty of food, plenty of entertainment, the Eat to the Beat concert series, and some new additions this year. There's going to be a new Marketplace VIP Access Chef Tour. There's also going to be 2 new marketplaces, the Terra Marketplace, which will feature vegan items. That's the first time for this festival that there will be a booth specifically devoted to vegan menu items, including the Trickin' Chicken Curry with basmati rice. Of course, it's not actually chicken in there. And Chili Colorado with house-made chips and cashew cheese. There will also be a Florida marketplace serving a bunch of fresh local ingredients. In all, there will be more than 25 marketplaces at this year's Food and Wine Festival, which is my favorite Epcot event of the year, as it is many. It's such a delicious time eating around the world there. And if you've never been to the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, I definitely highly, highly recommend it. It is quite enjoyable. Another special event worth reminding everybody about, of course, in just a couple of weeks, the event that, I guess not even a couple of weeks, about a week and a half from now, everybody's looking forward to the big grand openings out in California, Cars Land, etc., but at the exact same time out here in Florida, well, not quite as big of an event, but for those of you who can't make it to Cars Land then, you might want to stop by in Walt Disney World at the Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista from June 14th to the 17th. Will be the DeLorean Car Show and Convention. This is not a Disney event, but it is taking place on Walt Disney World property, and of course, a lot of people out there are Back to the Future fans like I am. Of course, Universal Orlando used to have a Back to the Future ride, and it's right across from Downtown Disney. This will be taking place. They will have a DeLorean time machine there from the films, as well as Back to the Future trilogy creator, writer, and producer Bob Gale will be there, among other Back to the Future celebrities. So an interesting event at Walt Disney World. And then outside of Walt Disney World, just yesterday morning over at, here's a park we almost never mention here on the show, Wet n Wild, the water park that is owned by Universal, or Universal Parks and Resorts, right near Universal Orlando. They had the grand opening of their newest attraction, the first in, I think, 4 years. Blastaway Beach is the name of this water play area. Apparently it's the biggest... it's the largest water playground of its kind in Florida. It's a family-friendly, sandcastle-themed water playground, and I had a chance to run and jump and dive and swim through all of that area. Definitely got soaked yesterday, and it is fun. It is huge. So look for more from Wet n Wild and Blastaway Beach over on InsideTheMagic.net in the coming days. So now let's jump out to California, where here's some news from last week, I believe, that I forgot to mention on last week's show. It's because there's so much going on at Disney California Adventure, as I just mentioned a minute ago, about a week and a half away from the big grand opening of Cars Land and Buena Vista Street, and just so many wonderful things happening in California Adventure, and they've added even more entertainment offerings that will be debuting amidst it all. It's going to include some new character entertainment in the streets. We've got Chip and Dale and Goofy and Mickey Mouse all dressed in sort of 1920s and 30s style clothing, very colorful variations on that style of clothing. Apparently Mickey's also going to join the Red Car Newsboys in their performance in the middle of Buena Vista Street. In addition, in Hollywood Land, which is the new name for the Hollywood Pictures backlot area of the park, there's going to be something called Dancing with Disney in Stage 17. It's going to be an interactive character party from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. each day this summer. And then over at Paradise Park, the area where World of Color is performed at night, well, during the day, it looks like Disney's finally going to use those World of Color fountains in a show in which Goofy will be standing there, and he'll be the maestro conducting an invisible orchestra. There will be music, of course, and he'll be conducting the fountains as they dance during the day, which should be pretty fun. In addition, of course, in Cars Land, Lightning McQueen and Mater will be seen driving through Radiator Springs and doing meet and greets and all that good stuff. So lots of character excitement coming to California Adventure amidst all the other excitement that we already know about. And recently I mentioned, for those that want to preview Cars Land in Buena Vista Street, Disneyland has offered a number of available choices, including packages where you can actually purchase preview tickets for $50 or $75 or even $500 to spend a few hours in those areas and get a bunch of perks. Well, just a couple of days ago, that $500 ticket, which sounds like a lot, was detailed exactly what you get in that with that ticket, and it doesn't sound so bad after reading all of this. You get to spend 5 nighttime hours in Cars Land and Buena Vista Street, both areas just exploring. In addition, you get a priority ride access on Radiator Springs Racers and a 3-course dinner at the Carthay Circle restaurant with John Lasseter on one of the nights. There's actually a couple of different nights, and the other night there will be some other Disney folks there, but one of them, John Lasseter, will be there, which is pretty exciting. There's going to be a private World of Color showing, valet parking. You get a one-day park ticket to enjoy the park before the nighttime event, and everybody paying the $500 gets a complimentary or included storyteller statue, which is the new sort of partner statue of Walt and Mickey, but California Adventures version as well. So I imagine that's probably going to retail for, I don't know, $75, $100. So that is good, not a bad deal for those of you who want to pay the $500 to have a few days in advance. Far less crowds around the areas, and you get all the bonus perks as well. Of course, I'm looking forward to experiencing it all starting June 15th, 13th rather, 10 days from now. 3-day media event, including June 14th, where the entirety of Disney California Adventure will be closed to the public just for the media to explore and ride everything and sample the food, and I'll be certainly bringing all of that coverage to you live on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, as well as plenty of wrap-up articles and videos and photos and all that good stuff. So keep on watching 10 days from now for all of that. But with all the changes that are going on at California Adventure, there's a little bit of California Adventure history that is going to make a comeback, but not at the Disneyland Resort. Remember those old letters, the big California letters that spelled out in the Esplanade in front of Disney California Adventure, or when it was Disney's California Adventure? Well, Disney is donating those old California letters to Friends of the California State Fair for Cal Expo. They are the 11-foot tall letters that will soon be on display at the State Fair in Sacramento from July 12th through 29th. So if you want to see those once again, that'll be your opportunity. Of course, the entrance to Disney California Adventure has changed very, very much since the days when those letters were there. It now looks like the old Pan Pacific Auditorium entrance, old piece of Hollywood, very similar to the Disney's Hollywood Studios entrance, or even Disney MGM Studios entrance. Of course, you can see Carthay Circle Theater towering in the distance, and Buena Vista Street, and very, very different look to than what it was when those California letters were there. But those letters still exist, and those who attend the State Fair out there in Sacramento will have a chance to see them once again. And here's something I'm a bit jealous that I'm not going to get to experience, that is headed for Downtown Disney in Anaheim starting, actually, I think it's starting today. It's in promotion of the upcoming series Tron Uprising on Disney XD. Through June 7th, the Tron Uprising Cine Transformer will be there. It is a mobile movie theater. Basically this big trailer that can expand and almost unfold into creating a theater with the state-of-the-art projection and surround sound and seating for up to 90 guests for everybody to watch the first episode, the Beck's Beginning episode, the 30-minute episode of Tron Uprising, and preview for the show that's going to debut this week, just a few days from now, June 7th, on TV on Disney XD. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of the Tron Uprising show. Beck's Beginning was a fantastic first episode, but if you're going to be at Downtown Disney in Anaheim, definitely check out this Tron Uprising Cine Transformer. And another special event that is headed for California, not specifically at Disneyland, but certainly Disneyland related, is something we've talked about here in recent weeks. It's headed for the Ronald Reagan Presidential Museum and Library in Simi Valley. It's from D23, the Treasures of the Walt Disney Archives exhibit, which is opening in July. And this week, Stephen Clark, head of D23, popped into a special episode of the Disney Geek online web series to show off a few familiar, spooky faces from the Haunted Mansion that will be appearing in the exhibit, and this alone is going to make me want to go to that exhibit. Not that I didn't already want to go, but apparently the old hitchhiking ghosts, the mirror ghosts that were out here at Walt Disney World before being replaced by the new interactive sort of ghost, those are going to be there, very similar to the ones that were on display and sold in auction at the D23 Expo last year. In addition, here's the part that I'm really, really excited about. Apparently the old classic bride from the attic of the Haunted Mansion is going to be there, and this bride has not been seen for a number of years since getting replaced by the Black Widow bride, Constance, in the attic, both in California and out here in Florida. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her once again. In addition, when the interactive queue moved in out here at Walt Disney World, a few of the iconic tombstones were sort of reworked. New versions of them were made, and in order to be in close proximity to guests who would be touching them and all that. Well, the old versions of these tombstones will be on display at the exhibit as well, and these are the ones honoring Yale Gracie, Imagineers, Yale Gracie, Mark Davis, and Xavier X. Atencio. These are some of the most iconic tombstones from the outside portion of the Haunted Mansion, and so those will be at the exhibit as well. Very, very, very exciting. I definitely am looking forward to seeing that exhibit. Eventually, it's going to be opening near the beginning of July and running for almost a year. I think it closes in April of 2013. The TEA released its annual report this week for attendance around theme parks around the world, ranking them, and no surprise, Magic Kingdom out here in Florida once again was at the top of the list with 17.1 million visitors for last year, 2011. That was up 1% from the previous year. Meanwhile, Disneyland in California, Disneyland Park that is, 16.1 million visitors, just a million behind Magic Kingdom at number 2, also up 1%. Disney's Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios were each up 1% as well, both getting very close to 10 million visitors. Epcot was at 10.8 million visitors, actually, but had no change over the previous year. And the big park that continues to see huge growth, of course, is Islands of Adventure out here in Orlando at Universal Orlando. It hasn't risen high enough to overtake Disney's parks, any of Disney's parks yet, that it already wasn't ahead, but it was up 29% in 2011. That's huge. 29% increase, up to 7.7 million visitors, which is actually more than Disney California Adventure received, which was 6.3 million, which was also up 1%. Meanwhile, SeaWorld Orlando is at 5.2 million visitors, a 2% gain. So lots of positive movement for all the parks. Islands of Adventure clearly winning the game with Wizarding World of Harry Potter, drawing more and more visitors there. I imagine once the same sort of area opens in a few years at Universal Studios Hollywood, and now with Transformers, that park should see a pretty good jump as well. But just looking at the numbers, Magic Kingdom 17.1, Disneyland 16.1 million. Certainly Universal is nowhere near that with less than half, but they're on the rise. Let's jump to the Disney Cruise Line now, where this was a pretty exciting announcement for fans of Pixar in an upcoming series of cruises on the Disney Wonder ship. Pixar characters and special events will be happening on board. It'll be Mr. Incredible, Remy, Woody, Jessie, Buzz Lightyear, and Carl from Up, and other characters. It'll be 4 special Pixar-inspired 7-night California coastal cruises. They'll be sailing September 16th through October 14th. In addition to the characters being on board, there will be Pixar presentations and sneak peeks featuring artists and filmmakers. There will be the Art of Pixar presentation. There's going to be a Pixar Film Fest on board, including the debut of Finding Nemo in 3D. There will also be commemorative lithograph created by Pixar artist and Brave co-director / screenwriter Steve Purcell. And these Pixar cruises will be starting at $799 per person. Moving overseas here real quick, a video has surfaced online making its way around that appears to be an official teaser for a Ratatouille dark ride being put into Disneyland Resort Paris. This has been a ride that everybody's pretty much known for quite a while now that this was going to happen. A lot of concept art's been floating around, a lot of permits have been found, etc., etc. But this is really the first, I think, official video that has come out of Disneyland Paris with this in the making. I don't know all the details surrounding it because Disney hasn't been entirely upfront about them quite yet, but Ratatouille to be coming to Paris sometime in the coming years. In the world of business, Disney moved around and replaced some people around the company, starting with some new executives in its publishing and retail divisions this week. Andrew Sugarman is the new Disney Publishing Executive Vice President, and in a more surprising mood, Disney Store President Jim Fielding, who has been very well liked, very excited about everything Disney Store. Well, he's no longer the president of Disney Store. In fact, he's not with Disney Store at all. He's been replaced by Molly Adams and Paul Gaynor, who were Disney Store senior vice presidents, now have moved up to executive vice presidents, and they are replacing Jim Fielding. Meanwhile, over in the area of the Walt Disney Studios, of course, the movie studio for Disney, it was just a couple of weeks ago that Rich Ross, formerly of Disney Channel, was removed from his position as chairman of the Walt Disney Studios. And now, this week, Bob Iger, who's CEO of Disney, of course, has announced that Alan Horn is the new chairman of the Walt Disney Studios. He was most recently head of the Warner Brothers Studios. This will be effective a little over a week from now, June 11th. Horn oversaw the Harry Potter film franchise. He had worked on the television series Seinfeld. Movies under his reign included The Dark Knight, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Happy Feet, Sherlock Holmes, The Departed, Batman Begins, $1 Million Baby, the second and third Matrix films, and plenty more. Bob Iger, in regards to Alan Horn, said, quote, Alan not only has an incredible wealth of knowledge and experience in the business, he has a true appreciation of movie making as both an art and a business. He's earned the respect of the industry for driving tremendous sustained creative and financial success, and is also known and admired for his impeccable taste and integrity. He brings all of this to his new role leading our studio group, and I truly look forward to working with him. End quote. Horn said, quote, I'm incredibly excited about joining the Walt Disney Company, one of the most iconic and beloved entertainment companies in the world. I love the motion picture business and look forward to making a contribution as part of Bob Iger's team, working closely with the dedicated and talented group at the studio, end quote. So definitely big, exciting news there for Walt Disney Studio. New direction for movie making, and of course, Horn had plenty of success at Warner Brothers. Should be pretty exciting to see what he brings to Disney. It sounds like he is the right man for the job. And amidst all of that, some release dates have been moved around in regards to Disney movies. Thor 2 has been moved up just a little bit. It was going to be November 15th of 2013. Instead, it's going to be November 8th of 2013, and that seems to be a move to bring it a little bit further away from the next Hunger Games film, which opens, I think, 2 weeks after that. And then Steven Spielberg's next film, Robopocalypse, was going to be coming out July 3rd of 2013, but now that movie's been pushed back to April 25th, 2014, which means The Lone Ranger, starring Armie Hammer and Johnny Depp, has now filled that slot at July 3rd of next year. And many people have seen The Avengers, still doing very well at the box office, but some of the people who have not seen the movie quite yet are up on the International Space Station, 220 miles above Earth. Well, now apparently Marvel Studios has arranged with NASA to transfer Marvel's The Avengers to NASA's Mission Control in Houston to uplink the film to the International Space Station, so the crew on the ship, on the space station above the Earth, can enjoy it like the rest of us. Of course, down here on Earth, if you're interested in seeing more from The Avengers and all the movies that led up to Marvel's The Avengers, they have announced, Disney and Marvel have announced, Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 1 Avengers Assemble. That's the very lengthy title for a 10-disc, 6-movie collection that is a limited edition collection of all 5 films leading up to Marvel's The Avengers, as well as, of course, the record-smashing film itself. You can pre-order it now at Amazon.com. I'll make it this week's featured item, so you can just check the show 374 section of the website to get a link to it. The box set includes The Avengers, both in Blu-ray 3D and Blu-ray, Captain America the First Avenger, again in 3D and Blu-ray, Thor in 3D and Blu-ray, Iron Man 2, just Blu-ray, The Incredible Hulk, just Blu-ray, and Iron Man in Blu-ray, as well as a bonus disc called the Phase 1 Archives. It's a collectible packaging with exclusive memorabilia from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and on Amazon the price currently is $153.30 with free shipping, and there is no release date for it quite yet. And And I mentioned 3D, and just a few minutes ago on Disney Cruise, I mentioned specifically Finding Nemo in 3D, which is coming back to, or rather going to theaters. Hasn't been seen in 3D yet. Well, a release date has been announced for Finding Nemo, both in Blu-ray 3D as well as on 2D Blu-ray, and that's going to be coming home December 4th of this year, just in time to make an excellent Christmas gift. And the bonus features sound really exciting. There's going to be a 3D virtual aquarium featuring the characters from the film, which should be pretty fun. Just put that on your 3D TV and watch them swim around. There'll be a 2D version of it as well. There will also be Cine Explorer, as well as a filmmaker round table and more bonus features. And finally, a TV listing from Kirby over at bartlett-sloan.net/TV on Friday, this coming Friday, June 8th from 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on HGTV is the next episode of My Yard Goes Disney, and this one is Expedition Adventure at the Krantz House, described as an adventure-themed backyard inspired by Disney's Animal Kingdom is created for an active family, including the addition of a treehouse with a kid-friendly climbing net, a zip line ending with a splash in the pool, and a dinosaur digging sand pit. Sounds like a lot of fun, so check that out on HGTV. And that's it for your news from around the world this week. And this week's tip is sent in from an anonymous cast member who writes, guests staying at any of the Walt Disney World resorts are considered resort guests until midnight on the day of checkout. Many people think that once the 11 a.m. checkout time comes, they must leave the resort, but that's not the case. They are free to use all the amenities in the resort or go to the parks if they have days left on their park passes. If they have a later flight, they can simply have the resort's bell services store their luggage while they go about their day. Definitely a great tip if you are, having that last day. Maybe your flight is not until that night, or perhaps, it could be the next morning, but that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if you're not spending the night there. But if it's way later in the day and you want to hang around, just store your luggage, as you said, with bell services and go hit the pool or use the arcade or just hang around, lounge around, go to the parks, whatever, until it is time to leave. No point in kicking yourself out of the hotel before you absolutely need to. Everybody else out there, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And now we've got some exciting features coming up on the show here. But before we jump into that, let me put in a quick word about Theme Park Connection. Theme Park Connection, of course, is a business who specializes in buying, selling, and trading Disney items. They're located out here in the Central Florida area, actually about 15 minutes north of the Magic Kingdom or so, in a city called Winter Garden, which I also call home. And Theme Park Connection has rare, unique, really exciting Disney collectibles that you can browse through at their physical warehouse location, which is just huge. You'll spend hours there sifting through everything. Of course, if you can't make it there, you can always visit their website, themeparkconnection.com, not only to find directions to get there, but also their online store where they sell items through eBay, and they sell different items in their online store than they do in their physical store. So definitely a great way to increase your Disney collection and find those unique items that you remember from theme park past, all over at themeparkconnection.com. So as I said at the top of the show, this week was an interesting week for openings and closings out here at Walt Disney World. While Disney's Art of Animation Resort celebrated its grand opening, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit, first I wanted to talk about the closing of a classic attraction at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. Of course, that is Snow White's Scary Adventures. This attraction has been around since the Magic Kingdom first opened on October 1st, 1971, and the ride did undergo some changes over the years, but for the most part, it has been the same iconic attraction featuring lots of dark scenes, lots of scary scenes for young kids, but it's one of my favorite dark rides. A classic, traditional dark ride in every sense of the word. It still exists at Disneyland, of course, and it predated the one out here. It was an original Disneyland attraction years and years ago, and but it is sad to see such an iconic ride close out here in Orlando. Many turned out for its final night. It wasn't, hours and hours of waiting, but there was a pretty good amount of people waiting. I went a few nights earlier to, of course, capture everything that is, or rather it was, Snow White's Scary Adventures before it closed, and I have already posted a tribute to the attraction over at InsideTheMagic.net, where you can see plenty about, pictures throughout the whole ride, as well as some pretty extensive video, and that's what I want to share with you actually right now, is one final ride through Snow White's Scary Adventures. Of course, naturally, I captured it with binaural audio to give you the most realistic and immersive experience as one last time through the adventure that takes you through, it's Walt Disney's and really the world's first feature-length animated film from decades and decades ago, a very important item in Disney history. Snow White's not going to be completely gone, of course, from the park. Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster, Mine Train roller coaster is coming as part of New Fantasyland, but that's going to be a little bit across the way. A different type of ride. It'll be a little bit dark ride, mostly sort of medium thrill ride with the new interesting rocking back and forth mine train elements to it. Of course, Snow White's Scary Adventures location is going to be replaced by Princess Fairy Tale Hall, which is going to be a meet and greet location, and I'm sure that will feature Snow White in it as well. So she's not disappearing completely from the Magic Kingdom, but this classic attraction, as we have known it for so many years, has disappeared now. So, as I said, binaural audio, you're going to want to wear headphones while enjoying this trip, one final through Snow White's Scary Adventure. So let's step into Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom. Here it is. Enjoy.
Alas, Snow White is the fairest one of all.
Quick, princess, run away and never come back.
It's the cricket wing. She's up on the cliff. Let's go.
And the timing couldn't have been any better there at the end as I emerged from final ride on Snow White's Scary Adventures just as the finale of Wishes was taking place out in Fantasyland. So it was kind of like a goodbye ending fireworks boom right as I emerged. Definitely a unique moment there at the end. Of course, fireworks, always a good time to ride any attractions in Fantasyland or really throughout the whole park as everybody's standing around watching the fireworks instead of the going on rides. So definitely very exciting there. But Snow White's Scary Adventure is one of my favorite dark rides, certainly the one out of all of the sort of classic dark ride experiences at the Magic Kingdom, Peter Pan, etc. Snow White's Scary Adventures is the one that I rode the most, not only because I enjoyed the sort of the scary element of it naturally, but also because it had the shortest wait, probably because of that scary element. So, I will miss it, but I am very much looking forward to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train coaster ride that is coming. It seems like it's going to be really a fun ride system that the Imagineers have developed specifically for the new attraction, and it will still contain dark ride components. You'll still go through the mine and see the dwarves, and I was told that you will see Snow White in the ride somewhere as well. The details, how it's all going to work, is still not known. Of course, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train's not opening for a while. It's going to be the very last part of the new Fantasyland expansion opening in 2014 for this final attraction. So in the meantime, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, the direct replacement of Snow White's Scary Adventures in that same location, is going to open in late 2013. So that will debut before the Mine Train coaster does. As I said, you can still ride Snow White's Scary Adventures in California, Disneyland, so it's not gone completely, much like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is not gone from the world completely, but it's not quite the same, and I will certainly miss it. If you want to see more from Snow White's Scary Adventures, head on over to InsideTheMagic.net. Look for the tribute article with even more video, close-ups on a lot of the elements throughout the attraction, as well as lots and lots of photos that I shot throughout it all. So, goodbye to Snow White's Scary Adventures. But as we say goodbye to Snow White's Scary Adventures, we say hello to a brand new resort hotel out here at Walt Disney World. It is Disney's new Art of Animation Resort. Of course, it's only sort of new because it's really taking over the former half-unused portion of Pop Century that was supposed to be built for more decades, if you will, added to that theme. Well, that never happened, and instead, Disney, a couple of years ago, announced it would be transformed into Disney's Art of Animation Resort, and just a few days ago, that announcement from years ago has come to fruition. It is now open. Of course, there are actually 4 wings that are part of Disney's Art of Animation Resort, and just one of those wings is open right now, with the rest of them opening in the coming months leading up to September, when they will all be open. Then the first wing that is open now is the Finding Nemo wing of the hotel. But before we get into all of that, I had a chance to stay in the hotel for a night just a couple of days ago, and I will tell you my thoughts on staying there and swimming in the pool and the food that is offered in their unique food court. But before we get to all of that, I want to share a moment from the actual grand opening of the Art of Animation Hotel itself. Now, the grand opening took place in front of the big Disney's Art of Animation sign. I believe it is the largest sign on Walt Disney World property, which is an interesting note to say about this hotel. So the grand opening took place there. I'm not going to share the entire opening with you right now because after this sort of opening moment that I am going to share, President of Walt Disney World and Disneyland and Disneyland Paris, Meg Crofton, got up and said a few words, and if you want to hear that or see that, you can head on over to InsideTheMagic.net to see the whole thing. But right now I do want to share just the opening number, the opening song that was performed at the grand opening for the hotel, which was entertaining unto itself, just a couple of minutes long. So now let's hop over to Disney's Art of Animation Resort for this opening moment.
Return to the magic, the art of animation.
there's magic to see. My dreams come alive and I feel like me. A true hero to all, the magic's in me.
I'm drawn to the magic, the romance, the splendor. With each happy ending, more beauty I see. My dreams come alive and I feel I could be named the fairest of all. The magic's in me.
I'm drawn to the magic, the spells and surprises. With each incantation, I'm charmed utterly. My dreams come alive and I feel I could be granting wishes to all, the magic's in me. Drawn to the magic, the epic adventures, with each classic story that glows on the screen. Our dreams come alive and we feel we a hero to all,
The fairest of all.
granting wishes to all. The magic's in me. The magic's in me.
So there you have it, a grand opening moment for Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Characters came out there at the end representing the various wings of the new hotel, and as I said, there was more to the ceremony than that, which you can catch over on our YouTube channel over at InsideTheMagic.net. But moving on from there, let's talk about the actual hotel itself. I actually had a first chance to walk through this hotel a few weeks ago in a preview of it all, and then, as I said, I stayed a night just a couple of days ago. I should note that Disney did provide me with the night stay at the hotel on grand opening night, but naturally having the free night there does not influence my opinions over what is good and what is not so good about it. And unfortunately, I have mostly good things, almost all good things, in fact, to say about this hotel. It's a fantastic hotel, actually. The decor and the color found throughout the entire Art of Animation Resort is phenomenal. Just even from the moment you walk up to the entrance of it all, which is called Animation Hall, that animation quality to it, the idea of sketching and concepts, really holds through the entire experience of staying there and of walking around there, even from the outside. Very, very colorful entrance with big sort of iconic character sketches and drawings and artwork out front. And then the moment that you move in from there into the a very elaborate lobby, you know that you are in a different experience here than you would be if you visited some of Disney's other value level hotels like the All-Star Resorts or even Pop Century across the way. Very much updated look for a value resort. Of course, some have said, well, maybe Art of Animation isn't so much of value because it is rather pricey, but we'll get to that point and why that's not necessarily true a little bit later when I talk about the rooms. For now, let's focus on the lobby itself, which is just a phenomenal area, just filled with sketches that they pulled from the archives of the 4 movies that are represented in the hotel's wings at Disney's Art of Animation. Of course, those are Finding Nemo, Cars, The Lion King, and The Little Mermaid. The Nemo wing, again, being the only one that's open right now. Cars opening just a couple of weeks from now, and the rest opening by September. So as you're, walking through the lobby, you see lots of these old sketches, some that have never been seen before, and this is sort of your introduction into the world of animation and the beginnings of how these movies all come together and all the colors working together and the sketches, etc., etc. And rather than me talking on and on here for a moment, I actually have plenty of interviews from the people who actually created this wonderful new hotel for Walt Disney World to share with you here. First, sort of a general overview, I had a chance to chat with Rick Allen, who is the general manager of Disney's Art of Animation, to learn more about him and what it means to be launching this new hotel. So I want to hop on over to Disney's Art of Animation Resort for a quick chat with general manager Rick Allen.
Rick Allen, and I'll be the general manager of Disney's Pop Century Resort across the water, but also Disney's Art of Animation Resort.
During that sort of development of the process, sort of transitioning, I guess, from what was going to be the second half of Pop Century to what is now Art of Animation, what challenges did you face in sort of making that jump from one, older theme to creating this one?
Well, I tell you, it became so clear right away that they said, hey, why not celebrate 4 of these greatest films that we've ever had? And I tell you, I didn't hear anybody look back. That seemed to be, it just started everybody off, and we've had nothing but fun with it.
Now, standing here in the middle of the Finding Nemo wing of the hotel, what is your personal favorite part? I mean, there's so much to see and look at here.
I know. I tell you, I think my favorite character is, I guess I can't say all of them. I've got kids. I have 2 little kids, and so one of them is going to probably say Crush, because hey dude and all that would be my son. My daughter's probably really excited about Little Mermaid, so when that comes a little bit later on. I love the pool, the fact that underwater we're going to have 12 speakers under there, and we'll have Dory and her buddies talking to each other underwater. I just can't wait for that.
That's really exciting. Is that a first for a Disney hotel?
It is.
And how is that going to work exactly? I mean, I assume there's underwater speaker system of some sort. Is it just going to be sort of periodic? You dunk your head under and you hear them?
Yeah, as far as how often it goes, there's going to be music sometimes. There'll be music that will be playing around outside here as well. But then occasionally you'll hear the voices talking to each other from the movie. We all can't wait to stick our head underwater and hear. There's 12 speakers around the pool.
Well, it's definitely a hot day today. I wouldn't mind jumping in.
I'll go in with you.
So as I'm walking around here, clearly there's a lot of larger-than-life decorations. But what about entertainment? There seems to be like a little stage over there for a band to play.
Yeah, what we'll have here are children's activities, and so our recreation team will put together music and games and fun ways to play around this pool, and that'll be the entertainment that we have.
What do you think guests' initial reactions are going to be as they walk through that lobby and, as you said, make it to the medium shot and then the close-up in the room?
Right. I think, I really think it's going to be a wow. And more than that, what we're going to make sure we do is we're going to make sure our cast that work here, housekeeping team, custodial team, front desk team, do their best to keep our guests in the movies at all time, to try to keep them in the story. So we hope we can play along with those roles.
So that was General Manager Rick Allen, of course, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves talking about the pool, which I'll talk more about here in just a few minutes, but more specifically talking about the lobby and the influence of how it all is coming together to create the experience that is Disney's Art of Animation Resort. To learn more, even more about that experience, I did talk with more Imagineers that I'll be sharing throughout the next few minutes, but right now I do want to offer some thoughts in the check-in process, which is a very unique one for Disney's Art of Animation. This hotel lobby, as I said, very colorful, lots of character sketches, lots of artwork on the walls, but the really unique thing, once you get past all that sort of Disney fun, is the actual process of checking in itself. It is unlike any other hotel around Walt Disney World in that there are you walk up and you get in line, of course, if there's a lot of people checking in at once, but the line is it moves very quickly because there's this very long row, not a standard long hotel solid check-in desk with a lot of cast members standing behind it waiting for you to come up to them, but rather the cast members come around these individual pods, as they're being called, and they're arranged in a sort of rainbow pattern all the way down from one end of the colors to the other, the color spectrum, and they come around and they greet you personally up close, and then they walk you over to their pod, and at that point they work with you one-on-one to check you in, make sure you're happy with your room, get you acquainted with all the usual details as part of the check-in process. But it's a much more personal experience, a real delight to sort of not have to approach this sort of long desk in your traditional fashion, but really being and they call them concept artists, tying into the whole theme of all of Disney's art animation hotel. And they continue that theme with some sort of clever language that they use as you're checking in. They concluded the process by saying, "Have an animated stay and I'll sketch you later," which honestly got a little bit old after a while, after I heard many of the cast members around the hotel telling me that they'll sketch you later. But they also, in talking about my room was in, of course, the Finding Nemo wing, the only one that's open yet. I was told I was in the Crush and Dory building, which is represented by the giant statue of Crush and Dory outside. And the concept artist said that I would be swimming through the EAC over to my building, which of course she wasn't saying that I was literally going to be swimming over there, but that was all just keeping in with that theme and the concept of you immersing you into these animated films, which is fun. You know, it's definitely an amazing amount of detail and thought has been put into improving on the experience of this check-in and then the whole resort experience. You heard me mention to Rick Allen a few moments ago something he had said in the speech that he gave in that pool area, kind of calling the lobby area a wide shot. You get sort of the overview of everything, and then you move on to the pool area, which is just past the lobby, and you get sort of the medium shot, and then when you get into the rooms, that's your close-up, and that's when you really get up close to all the characters, and that's a great way to describe how all of it is moving from one section to another in making it sort of a unique and different sort of experience. One other note I want to make about the lobby, amidst all of the wonderful artwork that is throughout the Disney's Art of Animation Resort lobby, there's this great, very unique chandelier hanging overhead with a skylight, and it's got all this artwork on it, and it's worth noting that you should look for the particular image of Lightning McQueen, because John Lasseter, director of Cars, of course, and huge involvement in everything Disney and Pixar, actually showed up to Art of Animation while this chandelier was being put together, and he autographed the picture, the image, the sketch, if you will, of Lightning McQueen. So definitely look up and look for John Lasseter's sketch up on that, hanging high overhead in the lobby area. So there is more in the lobby area. There's a gift shop. There's the Landscapes of Flavor food court. There's the Pixel Play arcade. But I will get to all of that a little bit later. Right now I want to jump through the lobby into what you see as soon as you emerge from all of that. As soon as you walk out from the lobby is this grand vista that is the Big Blue Pool, the Finding Nemo pool, which is a phenomenal sight. It is a huge pool. I think it's one of Disney's, if not Disney's biggest pool on property. Certainly biggest for a value resort, as this one is being referred to. There's color throughout the entire area. It really embodies everything that is Finding Nemo. As I said, on the buildings are represented by big sculptures on the side. There's one of Crush swimming through the EAC with Dory by one of his fins, and along the building there's lots of fish and the sort of swooping water of the EAC from Finding Nemo, the East Australian Current. On the other side, there's a giant sculpture of Mr. Ray also swimming nearby. There's a water play area that features Marlin and Nemo in an sea anemone, along with some of Nemo's school friends. There's also a dry play area that features Squirt and a little slide that you can go through. The stairwells for the buildings have giant sort of posts that would be sticking out of the water, and at the very top of those are the Mine seagulls from the film as well. Just plenty to look at throughout the entire area surrounding this pool, and of course to find out more about the whole pool area and the concept behind it. I had a chance to speak to a pair of Imagineers out there on opening day, beginning with Gary Hoffman. Actually, we're going to start back in the lobby first to hear from Gary Hoffman a little bit more about the lobby itself, and then we'll follow him out to the pool area as well to hear more about the Big Blue Pool, and then he'll introduce another Imagineer who will elaborate even further on how the whole area was created and kept really on point with how the characters looked in Pixar's film Finding Nemo. Here is Imagineer Gary Hoffman standing in the Art of Animation lobby.
You're basically immersing yourself into an animator's imagination right here. All of the archival artistry that you see behind me is all from the 4 feature animation films: Lion King, Little Mermaid, Cars, and Finding Nemo. We really wanted our guests, for their first scene of the story, to be immersed in the artistry of animation. So that's where the Disney Art of Animation story begins, is working and immersing yourself into the concept of Disney's Art of Animation Resort. When you step out and into the courtyards, that's when you'll be immersed into the actual stories of and really kind of immerse yourself as a character within the courtyards.
And I know that was a little bit hard to hear. I hadn't yet plugged in my microphone because it was sort of a spur of the moment immediately after the opening meeting with Gary Hoffman there. But now we moved on to the big blue pool outside, and it should be a lot easier to hear what he had to say about that.
As I mentioned before, the concept inside the check-in building was all conceptual, the artistry behind the story. Now we've immersed yourself into the story. You are Nemo. You're the size of Nemo, so you'll understand the scale of Crush, almost 30 feet tall. Mr. Ray, 26-foot wide wingspan. Again, you're in the big blue pool, one of the largest pools on property, resort property, 12,000 square feet. Incredible pool. The jellyfish, actually, we shut the water off because it was a little bit, it's a little bit noisy with all the video going on. But those jellyfish actually have tentacles of water that come down. And then right behind is the Finding Nemo interactive play area where Marlin, Nemo, Tad, Chickenfish, Sheldon, and Pearl all play. And you'll see water jets and pop jets. But beyond that is the coolest ever dry playground, Squirt's Righteous Reef. Definitely have to check that out, where Squirt has made his own playground in the middle of coral. Really, really neat. You guys got to check that out. Can't wait to see kids climbing and sliding all over that. And we got Ryan here to kind of take you through and give you a little bit more detail associated with the making of the icons and the details associated with the icons. So if you have any questions regarding how they build that, how did they cantilever Mr. Ray, Ryan's got all the answers for you.
We're right here. We're in Nemo's courtyard, Finding Nemo's courtyard. Behind me you can see the Nemo and Marlin and the sea anemone. And right now we're standing in the wet playground area with Tad, Sheldon, Pearl, and Chickenfish. We have the pop jets here. Luckily they're not on right now, but the pop jets will get going and the characters will spit water at them. On either side of us we have Mr. Ray with the 26-foot wingspan and Crush, who tops out at 28 feet. Behind the anemone we have Squirt's Playground, where you can go through the slides. We have the Squirt, photo opportunities. It's really a beautiful reef that he's atop. If you look at the building facades, we have 45 individual fish attached, swimming along. We have the EAC, and we have the playground area behind me. Behind you, we have the 5 jellyfish that they'll rain water on either side of the zero entry pool. Overall, we have 28 fish scattered throughout the courtyard. So it really makes the immersive environment, as they touched on earlier. In this courtyard, you are the scale of Nemo. So as you can see behind me, you have Nemo, and then you have the larger-than-life characters with Crush and Dory and Mr. Ray. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. I talked to Pixar animator Sean Krause when he was out here a few weeks ago, and he noted that he was particularly impressed by the fact that all these characters are really on model. How did you ensure that blowing them up to this size, they still looked exactly like they do in the film?
Well, that's a good question. The characters you see here come from the digital media, from Pixar, from the movie itself. So this is actually the actual character that you saw, just transferred into a larger scale. To keep it on model, there's an intermediate step. It starts off with the mock-up or the maquettes. The scale is determined, placement, orientation, and then we do what you call a intermediate model, or a 6-foot model, which is approximately 6 feet, where it is routed out in foam and hard-coated and painted. So all that detail, that fine detail, you can get a little bit more into the 6-foot model and work with the paint schemes. And then from there, it is scanned again and then routed out at full size, as you see behind me here. So in each stage, you have the sculptors, you have artists, you have everybody gets to put that final detail that really makes it punch in the end.
So that was Imagineer Ryan Parrish, and as you heard me ask there, I had mentioned that I spoke to from Disney Pixar Sean Krause just a couple of weeks ago when I was previewing Disney's Art of Animation Resort. So here is my chat with Pixar animator who worked on Cars, Finding Nemo, and Toy Story, and many other Pixar films about the new resort.
Sean Krause, and I'm a supervising animator at Pixar Animation Studios.
What do you think standing in the middle of this after animating Finding Nemo?
Well, it's been a while since I've animated on Finding Nemo, but I just think it's great that this is going to live on for another generation of kids, and they actually get to be basically characters in that movie. So I'm excited for my kids to come and see this, and proud that I actually worked on the actual movie. So the people here did a great job. Some guys at Jerome Ramped and people at Pixar did a fantastic job helping out. And I think they pulled it off. And it's really neat to see everything be on model. It means it looks like the characters in the movie. So I'm really blown away, and I'm excited.
Everything's definitely spot on. I mean, Mr. Ray is one of my wife's favorite characters, and we, of course, had to rush over and get a picture of that. I imagine a lot of guests will be doing that.
That's Pixar director Bob Peterson's voice, by the way, and he came up with that song.
And it's a great little song that just sticks in your head.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned on stage just a minute ago, you heard about the voices underwater, and clearly walking around, there's a lot of little touches here. What do you find while walking around here today sort of takes you back to the movie the most?
Well, actually, honestly, Mr. Ray's sculpt is so wonderful, and it makes you feel like I'm animating him. I'm looking at it in the computer and seeing the little kids, all of Nemo's friends here, and Squirt, who's inking him herself. That takes me back, and I'm just happy because just to see that these characters staying alive, and it gets sentimental in that way.
Did you also work on Cars?
I worked on Cars 1 and 2, yeah.
And have you had a chance to look over at that wing under construction as well?
I did, and it's amazing, and it's just as wonderful as this hotel. It's got a really nice, warm feel. All the yellows inside the rooms make it feel like it's dusk, and you just want to lay back and rest. And the laundromat out there, and the cozy cones you can sit in around the pool. So it's very impressive.
One more question. It must be pretty exciting around Pixar. Obviously, you always have a lot of projects going on, but to also have rides going to the parks, and now this hotel and Cars Land going into California, how much of that is sort of integrated into daily thought process, or are you just buried in the movies all the time at Pixar?
Well, right now I'm between movies, so yeah, I mean, and I love the parks. I've always loved the theme parks as much as the movies. So yeah, we talk about it, and I'll see Roger Gould come around, who works with the parks a lot, and I love that. And I think Cars Land's looking beautiful. John Lasseter is very excited about it, and having just come off Cars 2, I'm excited to see what they can do with it.
And that was Pixar animator Sean Krause, of course. A few minutes ago, when I was talking to Rick Allen about Disney's Art of Animation Resort in general, the subject of one of the coolest features of the pool, the Big Blue Pool, as it's called, around the Finding Nemo area. The subject of underwater audio came up, which is a really, really fantastic addition. There is music in other Disney pools. This is the first time characters have been added, character voices, character audio has been added to an environment like this where you go underwater to hear Crush and Dory and Nemo and Marlin and Mr. Ray and the sharks and all of that as you're swimming, and you can't hear it when you're above the water, but and there's also music as well, but as soon as you dive under, every once in a while those character voices will show up. And of course, when I was there, I had to swim around for quite a while and record some of that audio to share with you right now. So now let's listen into the music and, more importantly, the Finding Nemo character audio that you can hear in the water, under the water, in the Big Blue Pool at Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Now we're above water, you can't hear anything, and we're going back below.
Welcome to the EAC, little dude. This is awesome. You're riding it, dude. Check it out. Get the wave and you're sitting on top of the world.
Back up above water. Again, can't really hear much, just the normal ambient sound, and then here's some more clips from various things you hear underwater.
ocean with family and friends, exploring nature, the fun never ends. The ocean is full of wonders to uncover. Just dive right in and see what you discover. Oh, explorers! Oh, as you learn and share your knowledge, swimming in the ocean becomes fish college. That's why they call them schools, you know.
So you get the idea there. That's some clips of what it sounds like to dive under the big blue pool at the Finding Nemo wing of Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Really, really fun. And of course, everybody, a lot of people have said, well, isn't this going to encourage kids and adults, for that matter, to stick their heads underwater and not want to come up? Well, the lifeguards there were very nice and very attentive. There certainly are lifeguards on duty there all the way until 10 p.m. And it was they were always watching for kids who were sticking their heads underwater too long, or maybe putting their feet up along the side of the pool, and then leaning back and sticking their heads under. They made sure to go up to kids and say, hey, you can listen to the water, the sounds underwater, but make sure you show signs that you're fine and that you're swimming and alive and not just floating there, to ensure that that everybody is safe. Now the pool was great. I loved swimming in it. This is one of my few complaints, however, of this hotel, and I'm sure it's because of obviously it's a kids environment. There's a lot of color, there's a lot of characters, and throughout every single day at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, this pool is full of almost non-stop loud activities. They set up a speaker out there with a cast member and a microphone, and she's always just like yelling into the microphone, encouraging kids to come over and dive on the bottom of the pool for things, or do some Marco Polo type games, and et cetera, et cetera. And those are great and fun, and everybody's invited to participate, not just kids but adults as well. But after about 6 or 7 hours of that straight, it'd be nice if there was some quiet time around this pool. Now, there are going to be other pools in the area once the whole hotel is complete. There'll be smaller pools for Little Mermaid and not the Lion King, but rather Cars. The Lion King will not have a pool. So 3 out of the 4 wings will have pools, and I assume that some of the other pools will be a little bit quieter. My room, looking over this big blue pool at Art of Animation, I was hearing non-stop all day very loud music and games that were being played all around the pool all the way until maybe 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And then after that, every night is a movie played on an inflatable screen poolside, which, again, a really fun addition, a fun thing for people to do at night. Of course, naturally, on this opening night, they were playing Finding Nemo poolside, which, not that many people actually seemed all that interested in showing up and watching it. There were maybe 15, 20 people there, if that. But between the movie and all the day's activities, it was very loud continuously. And it wasn't until 11 p.m. when quiet hours finally came. And the pool's open 24 hours. There's only lifeguards till 10 p.m. But as of 11 p.m. till 7 a.m., it is quiet hours. And that's when I was finally able to get into the pool and just enjoy a swim around at night without many people around and without sort of the constant barrage of everything that was going on. So one of my few complaints about Art of Animation there. I will say also the pool at night, very nice looking, very well lit, very safe even when the lifeguards are not there. There was less colored lighting than I thought there would be. It's sort of just lit up to be safe. It's not necessarily lit up to look fantastic. I mean, the pool looks fantastic unto itself, but don't expect a lot of really colorful LED lighting and and all of that. So anyway, that is the big blue pool for the Finding Nemo area of Art of Animation. Of course, what everybody is most concerned about when you book stay at a hotel would be the room itself. And the Finding Nemo wing, along with the Lion King and Cars, when those open, are all family suites at Disney's Art of Animation resorts. That means it's more than just one big room. Instead, the rooms actually feature multiple rooms within the entire area. There is I guess what you would call a master bedroom, very colorful, very much in the Finding Nemo theme as well. Lots of characters around. In addition, there's a living room area / kitchenette with a sink and a refrigerator and a microwave, and a couch that pulls out for more sleeping areas. There are 2 bathrooms that are nearly identical. The quote-unquote master one is a little bit more elaborate than the other one when it comes to the shower. One has a shower with a bathtub. The other does not have a tub, but they're very, very similar in design between the two. And to find out more about what went into the, before I talk about my own personal thoughts on the rooms themselves, I talked to Danielle Duffy, another Imagineer, who elaborated on some elements of the design of the family suites at Disney's Art of Animation Resort. So now let's hop on over into Nemo Room to talk to Imagineer Danielle Duffy. Oops, got to get rid of the music, and then she'll come on. Here she is.
To stylize the environments from the movie here with all the colors and the textures and some of the characters here. So as you walk in, the family suite sleeps 6. So we have the dining table here that turns into a bed. So we have 2 that can sleep in here. Sofa bed in the family room, sleeps 2. And then the designated master bedroom here with a separate bathroom. So we have 2 bathrooms here in the suite as well. So you can just see all the colors around, and it's going to be really fun for all the families and the kids, just continuing that story from the moment you walk into the resort into your room here. Absolutely. So pull the chairs out, and they're stackable. Both rooms are available. We were able to use the surfaces of the bed to add a lot of color and custom artwork into the room. Just a little pull. And then we have our big reveal of the room, where we have Nemo and Marlin sleeping in the anemone. Nice little dimmer switch, just some fun things for the families to enjoy while they're staying in the room. If you want to look into the master bedroom, so we have this separate room in the guest suite, where a designated private area for the parents or grandparents, whoever may be staying in here. And then we have this amazing bathroom with just shower glass doors, and it's really fun. The story continues into the bathroom, and we have the second layer where you're in under the big blue with all the characters in the guest suites. And as you enter into the bathroom, that story continues, and we have the submarine scene where Dory and the sharks are swimming around, and you can see in the guest bathroom our shower curtains are themed after that submarine scene. So, and we have the porthole mirrors and submarine finishes, metallic tiles, and the shower surround, so it's really beautiful. And all the custom artwork here, you can see on the coverlets that this is all custom to Disney's Art of Animation Resort, just working with our partners at Pixar and Feature Animation, developing these ideas and stylizing those relationships that have been created in the movies and bringing them to life here in the rooms. So you can see we have Peach on the coverlet here, Sheldon on the headboard. All the colors and the details have been developed and worked on by lots of different partners here. So it's been a pretty amazing experience bringing this to life.
How have you improved on other value resorts at Walt Disney World with Art of Animation?
Well, I think Art of Animation is kind of a product of what we started at All-Star, where we have that family suite where they sleep 6. And I think after seeing the popularity there, that realizing this is in demand, having a room that can sleep 6 is where we need to be. So.
What about the switch to indoor hallways here as opposed to the All-Star where it's all outdoors? Was that a guest demand or just a choice to add more air conditioning? Or
It's allowed us to add a lot more circulation into the interiors of the guest rooms. I think it's a nice feature. People, you don't have the windows outside, people walking out in front, but in Little Mermaid we have that feature, which is also great on our value level. So I think it's turned into, allowed us to add more finishes into the guest experience. Our corridor carpet is, as if you're traveling down the EAC with the bubbles and the colors, and adding some colors on the doors, and just really trying to bump up that experience as you enter into the story and into your rooms.
So the rooms definitely have a great feel to them. They are family suites, as you heard. Plenty of things to or room. Excuse me. Plenty of room to spread out as you're walking around. Having a living room is a really nice feature, being able to get away from sort of the one-room experience that so many are familiar with when visiting and staying in a hotel. It's nice to be able to actually move from room to room. Really gives it a nice homey feel, even if you're not necessarily sleeping six there, but that's certainly possible. Danielle was demonstrating there as I was talking to her, pulling down the Murphy bed that they have that transforms a table into a bed to sleep even more, which is a really great feature. And this is where we get into the pricing. It's hard to say, you look at Art of Animation, you're like, how is this a value resort? It's like $250 plus a night, but we're talking about the family suites there. If you look at a suite like this in another hotel, you're going to be paying way more than that. Or if you have, you need room to sleep six, you're going to be buying multiple hotel rooms, and that adds up as well. So a family suite, definitely a great way to bring lots of people together with separate rooms where everybody can have their own area, especially parents can shut the door to the master area and be able to do that. Now, the Little Mermaid wing will have standard rooms, and that'll be really where you can compare the value level of Art of Animation to the value level of All-Star, let's say, and the pricing should be a lot more comparable between the two there. So it's when you look at it, it is sort of hard to wrap your head around how is this a value level resort, especially with all of the wonderful amenities and the features and the decor that is there. Now, to talk a little bit more specifically about my own personal thoughts in spending a night there, I already mentioned the noise level and the activities around the pool as a little bit of a negative. That aside, I did enjoy my time spending. I was on the fourth floor overlooking the pool, which was a great view from where I was in the in building number 5, as it is in the Finding Nemo building, suite area, whatever. Anyway, so that part was nice. I enjoyed being in there. However, the furniture that is inside the room, not necessarily the most comfortable furniture I've ever sat on. It definitely evokes that feeling of value, if you will, when sitting on it. The couch, which you can pull out as a bed, a little bit stiff. There's a chair in there that's even stiffer. You've got footrests that are not cushy at all. They're just hard material, so those aren't necessarily comfortable either. It's all very colorful and appealing to the eye, but not necessarily the most comfortable to sit on while, let's say, you wanted to spend some time in there and watch some TV. The bathroom, however, inside both bathrooms, very, very nice. I really enjoyed, sort of the decor in there. It's much better than your usual value level decor. There's a big porthole mirror that says "Fish Are Friends" on it, which takes sort of the submarine theme in there. In the first bathroom, not the master bathroom, but the other one, there's a shower curtain in there that has Finding Nemo characters on there, Bruce the Shark, etc. And apparently that shower curtain is going to be available for purchase in the store at Art of Animation for $100. It's $250 if you steal it out of the room. So if you really, really want it, you want to get it at the gift shop. I was also told the lamps, the table lamps, will be for sale in the store as well, which is a nice touch if you want an extra souvenir. I didn't catch how much the lamps will be in price. Apparently none of those the shower curtain and the lamps are not available yet. As for the bed, I did not have the best night's sleep while staying at Disney's Art of Animation Resort. I was very tired. I should have slept right through the night with no problems whatsoever. The mattress was okay. It wasn't bad. I didn't really have a problem. It's firm, but I like firm mattresses, so I didn't have an issue there. The comforter, which is fantastic to look at, very colorful, lots of Finding Nemo elements to it, is completely worthless when it comes to bedtime. It is stiff, it's huge, it's heavy, and you really just want to rip it right off the bed and throw it on the floor. It's not a comforter you want to use while sleeping. Meanwhile, it is a new hotel, so I am guessing the bedding, the linens, have not been broken in yet because the sheets were kind of crunchy and not not soft and not necessarily comfortable. And the pillows were kind of your typical hotel pillows that you sink right through and don't really offer a whole lot of support. So honestly, not the best night's sleep I've ever had. I did not exactly feel refreshed after sleeping there for about 7 hours. I woke up kind of tossing and turning. Fortunately, there's an air conditioning control in there, so you're able to keep control of your own temperature as needed, so you can make it hotter, colder, etc. The curtains block out the light pretty nicely from the outside, which is great as well. There's alarm clocks and flat screen TVs and HD TV and your typical Disney resort stations and all of that. Usual Disney hotel amenities there. So it's sort of a mixed bag of what I liked and disliked about the room. If you're looking for the most comfortable night's sleep, and that's what you want out of a hotel room, maybe Disney's Art of Animation is not the right choice for you. But if you've got a big family and you're all looking to stay together, but each have your own areas and have it for a very reasonable price and really, really enjoy the pool and the whole atmosphere of being there and just hanging around the hotel is fantastic, I would recommend it in that sense. A little bit more to talk about with regards to the rest of the hotel. As I said, the lobby area has a number of other features besides just being a hotel lobby. There is a store in there. It is called the Ink and Paint Shop. This is the main store for Disney's Art of Animation. This is where you can purchase exclusive merchandise for the hotel, along with kind of your everyday run-of-the-mill Walt Disney World items. The whole store is decorated to feel, it's called the Ink and Paint Shop, and it's decorated to feel like an animator's area, that it's got, big jars of paint and color and everything like that lining the walls, and it makes for a very colorful, vibrant environment and really moves that sort of same story along where you are you're talking or that we've been talking about, this whole concept of moving from sketches initially all the way through to the close-up inside the rooms themselves. And I had a chance to talk to an Imagineer named Carla. I unfortunately did not catch her last name, but we were standing in the ink and paint shop when we spoke, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about the inspiration behind the design and the decor of this unique at Disney's Art of Animation Resort. So here is Imagineer Carla.
Inspired by the Ink and Paint Studio in Glendale, California. And that is where our animators create these wonderful pieces of art that you see throughout this building. We are surrounded by larger-than-life, colorful paint jars all around us, full with merchandise and souvenirs. And as you can see, the colors of the wall base also match the colors of the floor.
Obviously, Disney has a lot of stores on property. What separates this from a lot of the other designs? How does it tie into the resort as a whole?
Well, it's very centrally located, so it's easy to get a souvenir at the last minute. It's also very colorful. All these jars have never been seen before or done in another space. They create a very cozy and colorful space.
You anticipate guests spending a lot of time in here just browsing around and enjoying the color as well as the merchandise?
Yes, for sure.
And is there a lot of Art of Animation exclusive merchandise?
Yes, we do have a lot of Art of Animation logo t-shirts, and they're basically right by the entry way.
So moving on from there to right next door is the Landscapes of Flavor food court. Very unique food court when it comes to a Disney hotel, particularly for a value level. First, let's hear from Imagineer Jonai Van Buren about what makes the food court so unique.
It's been just 3 years in the making as far as I've been working on this. And we've been able to work with Pixar, feature animation, Landscapes Cafe, which is where we are right now. All this artwork is artwork that has not been released before. So the artwork throughout this whole area, actually the artwork pretty much through the whole resort, is artwork that has never been seen by guests before. And we've been able to bring it in from the animation archive, work with the actual animators that worked on these films, so they were creating things for us. And so right now, if you're looking here, it's broken into the 4 sections, but the cafe itself is actually, it has to do with the environments that our characters live in So you won't see the characters in here, you'll see the worlds that they lived in. And it's amazing to see, because that's what actually brings them to life. It isn't just the characters, but it's their world. And so that's what we've created here. When you go out in the courtyards, anywhere like that, you're going into the world of our characters. So this is where they live, and you get to experience it. So we're really happy to have you here.
The name of the food court, obviously, Landscape of Flavors. Do you feel that the landscape scene tie into the food, or is it really two separate components?
No, it isn't two separate components. We were very careful to make sure that everything tied in together. If you go and check the menus and things, we looked at it where, okay, what kind of things would tie to the films, but also what kind of things would tie to our guests, what our guests wanted. So this is one of those places where if you're a vegan, you can decide what you want. If you are not a vegan, you've got plenty to choose from, but there's a lot. It's unlike any food court we've done. This is completely new. The entire environment, the entire resort is nothing we've ever done before.
Right. So that was Imagineer Jonai Van Buren standing in the Landscapes of Flavor food court, which is something I definitely want to talk more about now. I had a chance to eat a couple of meals in this new food court area. Before I talk about the food itself, let me speak about the actual sort of decor of the food court and what it looks like. It's certainly a unique environment where Disney went again to the archives. When you go in through the lobby, as I said before, you've got all these old sketches, character sketches of different, the Little Mermaid, Lion King, etc., that they pulled from when they were in development of those films. Now you move into the Landscapes of Flavors food court, and in there you see backgrounds. They said a lot of these have not been seen by the public before. These are backgrounds of, sort of in development of these movies. There's a Lion King area, Nemo area, Little Mermaid area, and a Cars area, and it gives you sort of this backdrop, supposedly, while you are eating. I found it to be a little bit disjointed, honestly, as you're walking through. I think the artwork is really nice unto itself, but the way it's presented, it's kind of like, here's some artwork, here's some artwork, here's some artwork, now sit and eat your food. It doesn't really necessarily all tie together perfectly, but, it's nice artwork to look at while you are eating your food. So now moving on to the food itself, I ate dinner there just a few nights ago, and also had a breakfast buffet that was provided during the opening. Now, the breakfast buffet was not a standard option for everybody staying at the hotel. The food that was on the buffet is indicative of the food that is served at in the Landscapes of Flavor for breakfast, but they set up a buffet just for media attending the opening to try all the different food, and of course just to have a bite to eat. So I was not real thrilled with the breakfast items. A lot of standard Disney breakfast items, your typical not so great scrambled eggs. There was some Portuguese sausage that looked really fantastic but was chewy and not the best sausage I've ever had. What else did I have? I had an egg white frittata, which definitely a healthier option, not including the yolks, but also was a bit lacking on flavors. Disney Freak in the chat room is asking about Mickey waffles. Yes, they do indeed have Mickey waffles, of course. I'm not sure about for Dave. Dave's asking about Nescafe coffee. I don't know. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I didn't catch what they have as far as that option. What else did I have? So the egg white frittata, not so great. Oh, there was a really great sort of sandwich, bread, of course. Overseas Indian sort of bread that is used to eat a lot of different food. The naan is absolutely delicious in this food court, whether you're eating it at breakfast time, lunch, or dinner. Absolutely get any menu item that has naan because it is just scrumptious. But contained within it for breakfast is sort of like almost like an egg and sort of spinach omelet, if you will. Not exactly an omelet, but you get the idea. And that was probably my favorite of the bunch that was served for breakfast. Everything else was sort of your standard breakfast item. I didn't grab any of the bacon, but I heard the bacon was pretty good as well. But moving on to dinner, lunch dinner service very, very similar as far as the menu goes. And this is where I enjoyed my food a whole lot more than I did for the breakfast offering. Again, the naan bread is fantastic. So I ordered some of the more unique items that are served there. in the hotel are tandoori items that sort of overseas style of cooking, as well as some Mongolian grill options. So I ordered the tandoori chicken, which sort of has this yellowish, I think it was like a curry sauce, and with it you got to pick 2 sides, and I got a cheese and spinach curried mixture, as well as a cauliflower sort of side that had tomatoes and a really nice spicy sauce on it. And this is all counter service. You walk up, it's sort of put together in front of you and served to you right there on a very large plate, big portions. And it's interesting with this particular meal, the tandoori chicken. The first few bites, I thought, this is all right. And the more and more that I ate of it, I actually really, really enjoyed it. And I would definitely order it again. The cauliflower, a little bit spicy, but I enjoyed it. As I said, the naan bread is just fantastic, and it's great to load up with some of the other items. Load it up with the chicken, take it all in one bite. I was there with my wife, Michelle, and she ordered from the Mongolian grill items. She got the Mongolian grilled beef, which comes with broccoli and some red peppers. And for her side, she got basmati rice and some roasted squash, which she said, I tasted the squash as well, but she really, really enjoyed that. So the squash was the best thing on the plate there, in addition to also coming with the naan bread. The basmati rice was all right. It needed to be, needed to be more on the plate. It was good rice. There just wasn't enough on the plate. And then the Mongolian grilled beef had a fantastic flavor, but was overcooked and chewy. But definitely different sorts of menu options available there. Of course, there's much, much more available than just that type of options. There's a burger area that you create your own burger from a number of different options. They have a pastrami burger, which looked really fantastic. I almost got that, and I'd like to go back to try that at some point. In addition, let's see what else. Different burger options, as I said. Of course, there are some standard menu fare that you'd find everywhere. There are no chicken fingers, as I was told, at this location. They're really trying to move away to some different types of food, and not everything was spectacular, but for the most part, I certainly applaud Disney's effort in trying to reinvent the menu and go for something different. Even when it comes to the kids' items, they're really pushing to have the kids' menu items a little bit closer to what adults are eating. Of course, there is spaghetti and meatballs and some items like that for kids to enjoy, but they really want to push sort of a healthier style of eating for everybody who's there. And then for dessert, there's a wide array of options, from some really excellent moist cupcakes that they have pre-made, and you can grab them in just a little grab-and-go sorts of box. Actually, surprisingly good cupcakes. But my favorite, what we got for dessert, was the gelato, where they have about 8 or 10 different flavors of gelato there. Really creamy, really thick, and definitely very flavorful. Has toppings you can put on it. I got the pistachio gelato, absolutely delicious. I just wolfed that down. I would go there just for the gelato in a heartbeat. Definitely a good place to eat. I was in the end satisfied with what I ate there. They'll tweak it, I'm sure. They'll make some improvements over time. But for the most part, it's definitely worth heading over there. Even if you're not staying there, just try the food court for something a little bit different, kind of your non-standard options to eat when it comes to a Disney hotel. And so one last area in the lobby area that's fun to play in is the Pixel Play Arcade. Just to mention real quick, it's got all these. It's a very Pixel themed. Video game arcade. It's got lots of squares everywhere, colorful squares representing pixels of a video game, and it's huge. Enormous arcade with just about every kind of game, from pinball to dancing to just your standard stand-up arcade games and everything in between. A lot of ticket redemption games, etc. So definitely a fun arcade game there. Also, one other note for the lobby area: near the entrance, there's a small business center that's not like sectioned off where you need a room key or anything. You just walk right in, and they have a big display that shows the departing times for flights, which is handy, that are happening that day. There's also a couple of computers you can use to get on the internet and print from it and all that. There's no extra cost for any of that, which is nice. And speaking of internet, I should have mentioned this before. In the room, I did test out the free Wi-Fi that was available, and I got speeds of about 1 megabit down and about 1/4 of a megabit up, 0.25 megabits up. So not the speediest internet in the world, but definitely manageable. The download speed's fine for just browsing, checking your email, etc. Don't plan on uploading, YouTube videos or anything from there, but you could definitely send some photos home to friends and family while you're staying there. And the Wi-Fi Wi-Fi is resort-wide. So, of course, this isn't the end of Disney's Art of Animation. It's just the beginning. There's much, much more coming from this hotel. This is just one of 4 wings that are opening up there. And let me give you a little bit of a preview as to what's to come in just a couple of weeks. In fact, 2 weeks and a day from now is when the Cars wing of Disney's Art of Animation Resort will be opening up. And that wing is located just next to the Finding Nemo area. And I had a chance to talk to Pixar franchise guardian Jay Ward, as well as car designer Chip Foose, standing just outside the Cars area to learn more about the details that went into there.
The resort has 2 portions that are Disney related. We have Little Mermaid, but then we also had a Pixar portion with Nemo and Cars. About 2 years ago we started on these, and the Cars portion I was deeply involved with, along with our Pixar theme park team, and then of course Imagineering and the resorts folks here. And it's been a blast. This is the only place that Disney has where you can actually go right up to this many characters. We have Cars Land opening out in California, but really there's only meet and greet for a few characters. This is the only spot where you can actually walk up and interact with this many characters in one place, so we're very excited about it. As you head back, you're going to see, obviously, you got Sheriff waiting by the billboard in case you're speeding, and then you kind of head up the road. You got Doc Hudson to greet you, of course. Always have the pairing of Flo and Ramon together. They're a couple. They're always together. Chip Foose helped out with Ramon's paint job in the film Cars. He actually designed many of the paint jobs. As you know, Ramon changes his paint job every time you see him. Chip did a lot of those paint jobs with us, and he's here. And that's basically Chip actually striped out that vehicle for this. So it's cool. We have some actual Chip Foose artwork here.
Yeah, the vendor that actually created the characters for Disney here, I went to their facility and laid out the flames, and like Jay had said, I was lucky enough to work on the movie and designed the graphics for Ramon and some of the other characters.
Right, as you go back further down the road, obviously you got Sally's Cozy Cone. That neon sign will actually turn around and spin, which is cool. On the back side you can't see is actually a pool, a swimming pool back there that's actually like a cone-shaped pool. You have the wheel well entrance, which is going to have Sally and McQueen to greet you as you go in. Mater's got his own junkyard jamboree area kind of over here. It's Mater's junkyard sign and his whole area. And then if you go off to the left, there's Luigi and Ramon by the Leaning Tower of Tires. The lights come on the cars at night. Headlights and taillights, which is really cool. They do light up. The signs light up in town. Sally's lights up. Sarge's sign lights up. So this thing is just as cool at night as during the day. In fact, you can see the street lights are on right now. And they wired up little telephone poles and all that kind of stuff just to make it feel more authentic. It's got old license plates. The graphics from the movies are in there. Like Chip was talking about, the rooms are they're just dialed. They're just so beautiful and authentic when you go inside the rooms. 50s style car upholstery for the couches. It's great. Obviously, everything at Sally's Cozy Cone is cone themed. So actually behind Sally's, it's hard to see, but there's actually all the cone rooms, which are various kind of little cabanas and types of things. And then the pool is that cone shaped as well. So it actually fit perfectly in there. We knew we were going to have a big pool for Nemo. Obviously, that is all about water play. But we want to have a small pool here in case you're staying at Cars and you want to dip yourself in. You can do that as well. So
it's Radiator Springs and Coney Island?
Yeah, exactly. It's a Coney joke.
Jay, can you talk a little bit about the process of sort of taking the digital Pixar world into something like this that we see in 3 dimensions for guests to experience firsthand?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, these are not just cars; they're characters, and that's something bringing Chip on was really important to us because we want authenticity. And John always says we like authenticity in everything we do. If it's Nemo, we want that ocean life to look beautiful, and if it's the world of Cars, we want the cars to be authentic. For a Hudson Hornet to look like a real Hudson Hornet, and yet it's a living character. You see the smile, you see the eyes, and you kind of know who that guy is, and that's what we want to bring to life here. So, the first thing we start with is actually taking our digital data and having that thing milled out full size in foam, and then really analyzing it, evaluating it, make sure that we like the pose, the personality, put the eyes in the right place, that the characters actually greet you as you drive along, and it almost looks like they're looking at you as you walk up the road. So a lot of things we did to really, all the cars are down at ground level, not up high. We want to make sure, it's a tough choice to do that, right? Because people can go right up and touch these cars, but in this case we wanted that. We want these cars to be accessible, and for kids to be able to walk up and actually give Mater a hug. They can do that here. That's cool. This is the only place where they can really do that as much as they want, really freely, and we worked really hard to make that work here. It's almost like a little park in itself, and what's cool is this is physical representation of cars in Florida, and this is it, really. I mean, where you can actually go right up and see this much car stuff in one place, and it's at a resort. It's pretty cool.
Chip, how did you sort of apply your real-world design aesthetics to the world of Disney and Pixar?
Well, I started when I was 3 years old sitting next to my father drawing, and I've been drawing all my life. I've enjoyed it. I'd like to say I was helping my father at his shop when I was 7, but I think I destroyed a lot more than I actually helped him. But he was a fabulous teacher, And I still learn from him today. In fact, one of the things he always said is, what you learn after you know it all that counts. And that's what the experience with Disney and Pixar has been. I learn every time I work with them, and I look forward to learning because it's an absolute blast. It's the passion for everything that they're doing. It's almost like being in school again. Everything is, you're learning and taking things in, and it's what you produce that actually creates an experience for the guest. And it's an absolute blast to create things that allow people to share. I look at a car as an extension of one's personality. So when I'm designing a car for somebody on overhauling, I'm asking questions about what they like, what influences them, so that I can create the car that is an extension of their personality. And that's what these are. These cars all have a personality, and they are a character as well. And it's been a blast to work with them. It's a blast doing overhauling and making people's dreams come true, and that's what Disney does every day.
Anybody who is a Disney Pixar fan or a Cars fan, just wait till you guys see the inside. I mean, the rooms are all car themed. We spent a lot of time getting all that detail, and then they're phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, we got to get you in there. You got to see these things.
Come on in, get new wheels and tires, get a paint job, stay at Sally's, and have a good time, but don't speed because Sheriff will get you.
That's right. Make yourself at home in Radiator Springs.
And there you have it, a preview as to what's to come in the Cars wing of Disney's Art of Animation Resort. I want to round out this extensive look at the new hotel for Walt Disney World with one final bit of entertainment that was performed right there at Disney's Art of Animation Resort the following morning. The grand opening was May 31st, just a few days ago, and on June 1st, there was a special ceremony poolside at Disney's Art of Animation Resort that featured, the ceremony was a dedication, first day of issue ceremony for the new Disney Pixar series of postage stamps that feature Monsters, Inc. and The Incredibles and Finding Nemo, Bug's Life, and one more. What was the other one? What did I just say? And Toy Story, of course. You can't have Pixar stamps without having Toy Story. And to conclude that ceremony, the Voices of Liberty, the a cappella singing group, a very popular group from over at Epcot, were there, and they performed a song that is most definitely near and dear to the history of everything that is Disney. It's a song you will certainly recognize, so let's go poolside to the big blue pool over Disney's Art of Animation Resort to enjoy a quick song from Voices of Liberty.
Gentlemen, the Voices of Liberty.
You wish upon a star makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, your request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star as dreamers do. Fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
All always love hearing the voices of Liberty no matter what they're singing, but when it's an iconic Disney song like that, it makes it extra special. If you want to see even more from that ceremony, the whole stamp ceremony, along with the voices of Liberty also singing the United States national anthem, head on over to InsideTheMagic.net, or you can visit us on our YouTube channel, not only to see that, but also plenty more from Disney's Art of Animation Resort as it exists now, and further previews coming in the coming weeks and months as they open the rest of the wing, starting with the Cars wing on June 18th, and then a couple of months away from the Lion King wing, which will follow, and then mid-September or so for the final Little Mermaid wing as well, which of course is the only wing that's going to have standard hotel rooms, whereas the rest are family suites. So there it is for now. Disney's Art of Animation Resort now open at Walt Disney World. And before we get to our last segment here on the show, let me put in a quick word about Lanyard Lab. This is what I do when I'm not doing Inside the Magic. It is a business that I run throughout the week, customizing custom lanyards. That's a little bit repetitive. Anyway, that's what we do for businesses, for schools, for churches, for conventions, really any organization where you've got a logo, a text, anything you want to put and hang around your neck, whether you need ID card, name tag, anything like that. LanyardLab.com is the website where you can do it all. Just click anywhere that says get a quote, submit all your details to us, your design, your text, your colors, anything you want to put on there. We'll email you back with a price quote along with a proof showing you what your lanyards will look like. And if you're happy with all of that, you can place your order online. But of course, there is no obligation to purchase any of it, so you can try it for free over at lanyardlab.com.
Hi, Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic listener feedback.
So it's been a long show. We're almost approaching an hour and 45 minutes, but we'll go ahead and do some listener feedback anyway, at least as much as I can get to this week, and then we'll move on from there. Anyway, email from Stan from Illinois writes in and says, we just returned from Disneyland, and I thought I should piggyback on your recent review of the Red Lion Hotel. We also stayed there, and we're very pleased with it. It is extremely convenient for the money. One thing that most people don't seem to realize that because of its proximity to the Toy Story remote parking lot for Disneyland, you can return to the hotel from the parks using the free parking shuttles. The best way to get back is to walk to the bus stops to the Woody, Buzz, and Jessie lots, staying to the right as you walk back towards Harbor Boulevard. Catch one of these shuttles. They seem to have quite a few of these, and in the middle of a very busy Sunday night park dump, we only waited 2 to 3 minutes to board one. The shuttles will head back to the remote lot, get off at the first stop, the Woody lot, and there's a sidewalk that goes back to Harbor. From that stop, it is only a short walk back to the hotel. This is a huge convenience when you're tired at the end of the night, and it's even more convenient if you're carrying packages back to the hotel. Stan, great point that I did not mention when I talked about the Red Lion Hotel. I think it was last week. You're right. I opted to walk just because it's good to get some more exercise, but at the end of the day, after you've been walking around the parks, you've probably gotten all the exercise that you possibly could get. So, yeah, and especially if you're lugging around packages or if you've got strollers and all of that kind of thing. Hopping on the shuttle, definitely a good way to head back to the area. Good point. Now, last week on the show, I had read an email from Amy wondering about music, Disney music specifically, and how it's had an effect on people's lives. And I offered a few musical selections that I have a personal connection to, and I threw it out to listeners to offer their own. And I got some really great emails back. So hopefully, Amy, you're out there and listening. The first up is let's see. You know, I don't have the name on this one. Let me see if I can find the name on this email real quick, because I want to make sure to give credit for an email where it is due. Well, I'll go ahead and read the email while I'm searching for that. The email writes, in response to Amy's email about music last week, the music of Disney is something that has been in my life for so long. I like the songs from the movies, but I care more about music from the theme parks. My favorite songs in the Disney canon are Grim Grinning Ghosts and I Will Go Sailing No More from Toy Story. It looks like that came in from Chris. So there we go. So thanks, Chris, for writing in there. Brad wrote in response to Amy's email as well, and writes, for me, it would have to be Legacy from Epcot. Growing up, I took several vacations to Walt Disney World with my family and enjoyed each trip. As a kid, I always preferred to go to the Magic Kingdom. What little kid doesn't, right? And actually, before I continue here, let me go ahead and play the song that he's referring to. And never really cared for Epcot because to me it didn't seem to be as magical as the Magic Kingdom. However, when I made a recent trip to Walt Disney World after several years of going there on vacation, I heard this song as we entered Epcot and was suddenly excited to be there. Something clicked in my mind, and I regretted not having a greater appreciation for Epcot when I had gone there as a kid. The music felt almost inspirational to me, so I just stopped and took in the moment. Music has that neat way of creating different emotions in us, and every time I hear Legacy, it fills me with excitement because I feel like I am at Epcot walking towards Spaceship Earth. Well, Brad, here's a little bit of that feeling. And, of course, I should also play a little bit of Grim Grinning Ghosts in honor of the previous email from Chris, who mentioned that it was or is one of his favorites. So let me cue that up. Let's see. Here we go. Oop, that's just general Haunted Mansion music, not the version that I was going for, but that'll do as well, I suppose. Just flipping through the music library, way too much to see. Let's try this one. There it is.
And the tombstones quake. Happy haunts materialize and begin to vocalize. Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize.
All right, so we've got another email on the same topic of music, Disney music having an effect on people's lives. This one comes in from Zoe from the UK, who is writing in and says, my first Disney music memory currently comes from Snow White. And yes, I have just finished watching your tribute to Snow White's Scary Adventures. And where I put in my VHS copy, this is before DVDs come along, literally, and my blind and deaf grandfather was in the same room as I was in the room with only the VHS player at a time. When Snow White sings I'm Wishing for the One I Love, my grandfather was whistling not only to this song, but also Hi-Ho. How about a little bit of that? Just nature sounds at the moment. I promise the wishing well is coming. Anyway, continuing with the email, Zoe continues, now the interesting thing about this is a memory for me to retell my children and their children when we were watching Snow White for the first time, but it also let my grandfather remember when he went to the cinema during World War II, when he was probably on leave, and took my grandmother and probably my aunt out to see the film. So not only is it a memory for my generation, but also the one after that, but it's also for the one to come. So now that I might have gotten a few people misty-eyed like myself, here is what would entice Amy into buying a book in Walt's biography regarding Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, which I quote, let's see, we're going on. Anyway, Amy talked about the Walt Disney biography as well. I think there were two different topics there, and so Zoe is offering a passage from the book that is kind of long, and we're running low on time here, so I'm not going to read that here. But anyway, yes, with the Neil Gabler book about Walt Disney and his biography, definitely a good one to pick up there. But in talking about the music, another great music selection here, so thanks, Zoe, for that. All right, so moving on, let's go back to the music I was playing in the first place here for listener feedback. And continuing to the next email comes in from Martin from Scotland, who writes, I just wanted you to know that I love watching your show on YouTube every week. It's a great way to use up time if there's nothing else to do. I was watching a video on YouTube the other day in the Orlando Kissimmee area in the Magic Kingdom. and it was dedicated to Snow White's scary adventures. The person filming focused on a plaque that read, "Times and conditions change so rapidly, we must keep our aim constantly focused on the future," a quote from Walt Disney himself. And the man filming then said, "I wonder if Walt would have wanted this ride to be gone. I was just wondering if you agree, if it's a bad thing to take away rides like this." Interesting question, Martin. It's always hard to know what Walt Disney would have wanted. It's something that Disney doesn't even try to struggle with much at all, because you can't treat the day-to-day wondering what somebody else would have done. You just have to sort of move on and do the best that you can with the situation at hand. And I think in this case, while Snow White's Scary Adventures is a classic attraction that many have enjoyed over the years, I think the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train Coaster will prove to be not only a very, very good attraction for today's audiences, but also still a great tribute to the Snow White film that everybody adores for so many decades now. So in this instance, I don't think it is such a bad thing that Snow White Scary Adventures has closed, though I will miss it. Next up, an email from Canadian listeners, Michelle and Chris, who writes, "We are heading to Walt Disney World for our first family trip. My husband and I were there for our honeymoon and have been planning to celebrate our 5th anniversary there as well. Over the years, we've been blessed with 2 Disney princesses, so the need to save as much as possible has become even greater. After clicking through numerous discount websites, we're not sure we can trust them all, so we thought we'd turn to you for advice. Our trip will begin July 5th and will end August 6th. We're staying off property and looking to get at least a 2-day child ticket and at least 2 3-day adult tickets. Obviously, the more tickets, the better, but cost will be the deciding factor. What sites do you recommend?" Michelle and Chris, my standard response to this is just get them from Disney. The price difference that you'll find between discount ticket places and Disney's tickets, yeah, there is a difference there, but it's usually only a few bucks. Maybe it'll add up to $20 or $30 when you're done with buying all the tickets, and it's not worth the risk to potentially get tickets that won't work or expired or fake or any other number of problems that exist out there. Now, I'm not saying there aren't plenty of ticket sites that do offer discounts out there that aren't legitimate. They exist. Unfortunately, there's a lot of tickets out there that you just aren't guaranteed that everything's going to be perfect for your vacation unless you get them straight from Disney. And that peace of mind, I think, in my opinion, is worth the extra little bit of a cost. When you get them from Disney, you know you're going to have no problems with your tickets. And if for some reason you do run into a problem, they will fix it for you. Whereas if you bought them somewhere else, you might run into an issue. So that is always my advice. Just get them from, the reputable source that you know, and that way you just have that peace of mind and you don't have to worry. Next, here's an email from Erin in Australia who writes, "G'day, Ricky." And she noted, have fun saying that one. Anyway, Erin writes, "I'm currently planning my first trip to Walt Disney World in 2013 for a birthday celebration with a stopover at Disneyland, just for good measure. Naturally, the plan at the moment is to spend at least 2 weeks in Orlando with maybe 2 or 3 days in California on the way home. My question is, in your opinion, do you think it's worth getting a premium pass instead of just normal park hopper? As you know, the premium pass has discounts for hotels, etc., and access to both American resorts, but it's also slightly more expensive." Now, Erin, I think you're referring to the Premier Pass. The premium is just for Walt Disney World, and then there's a premium version for Disneyland as well, but Premier encompasses both coasts. The new price for that is $850, which is pretty steep, so it's really going to depend on what kind of a discount you are able to land. You get 20% off of merchandise. Out at Disneyland, you get a lot more dining discounts than you do out here in Florida, so that all helps. And if you're staying at something like the Grand Californian or Disneyland Hotel, that hotel discount may work out in your favor when it comes to buying an annual pass versus the park hoppers. However, I don't know what the prices you'll be getting for the park hoppers are, because I don't know how many, it's going to be, if you're going to be there for 2 weeks, that's a lot of days for park hoppers. Buying 2, if you're planning on going to the parks every single day for 2 weeks, that is going to get rather expensive, and it very well may be beneficial for you to get that Premier Pass. So I would definitely look strongly at it. Find out how much the discount is going to be for the hotels. Find out how much, sort of decide how much merchandise you might think you'd be buying, how much food you're going to be eating at Disney's restaurants, and do the math a little bit there and see if you'll save the extra few $100 that you'd be paying to get that Premier Pass. So have fun on your trip. All right, one more email this week comes from Carl, who writes, after Disney California Adventure reopens, do you think a third theme park for Disneyland Resort will be built in the future? I was thinking it would probably happen to combat the Wizarding World of Harry Potter when it opens at Universal Hollywood. If it's built, what do you think it'll be? Carl, I don't think Disneyland Resort's going to be planning anything that huge for a long time, and I say that at least not publicly, because number one, they want everybody to focus on the billion-dollar expansion that they just are finishing up in a couple of weeks, in less than a couple of weeks. The whole project that's been going on for 5 years now across the whole resort has been unprecedented. It's huge. It's almost as if they built a whole new theme park between everything that they have, improved and built and created that's new. Also, in this upcoming media event next in a week and a half, there is no What's Next presentation that I know of that's planned. And if Disney had something new to announce, they probably would have one of those planned like they usually do. So at this point, I think they want everybody to focus solely on what is currently new at Disneyland Resort, rather than looking to what's next, which I'm sure will be a while before that type of plan. And that's not to say there aren't plans for a third theme park out there somewhere, behind the walls of Imagineering, but I don't think we'll be hearing about that anytime soon. And that's where we will wrap it up for this week's listener feedback.
Tomorrow.
And we're coming to the end of show 374, just a bit under 2 hours. Very long show, but that's because we had a lot to talk about between Snow White's Scary Adventures closing and then Disney's Art of Animation Resort opening. It's not every day that a new hotel opens, so lots to share about that. And of course, it's not even fully open yet. It's going to be 3 more wings to come, and I'll certainly talk about those as I have a chance to explore further and perhaps spend another night or two in those areas and see what they are like. But definitely, even if you're not going to be staying at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, you don't have a need for a family suite perhaps, I do highly, highly recommend that you go over there just to check it out. It's a wonderful place to just walk around, see all the colors, see all the sketches, see all the artwork, see the pool area. You can't go in the pool unless you stay there, at least you're not supposed to. But it's definitely worth checking out in person just to walk around and see all this fun new Disney stuff that has shown up around there. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their travel services by visiting magicaltravel.com. Also visit themeparkconnection.com to find directions to their physical store and warehouse, as well as check out their eBay store online. And visit us over at lanyardlab.com to see all of the different styles of custom lanyards that we have available, and request a price quote today to receive a free digital preview of your lanyard design. And of course, between episodes of this podcast, visit us over at InsideTheMagic.net, not only for each week's show notes and links and background music and featured items that we have for each show, but also almost daily news and theme park topics and Disney, and of course links to find us and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube for all our videos and live updates from the parks, and just to generally keep up with all the latest Disney and theme park fun between every week's show. So thanks very much to all of you for listening and for watching each and every week. And have a magical week. Bye.
Shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Just